Hi, if you want to watch exclusive content with hot girls that you won't watch on YouTube, namely where Naruto roasts Kushina and Makoto and many other hot girls without restrictions, then visit my Boosty channel at the link in the description, Sakura's POV. After graduating from medical school, I couldn't choose a job for a long time. It's not that they didn't want to hire me. No, on the contrary, I was the one who refused. There were many things that didn't suit me about the job that was offered to me. Either the profit wasn't right, or the staff wasn't right. In short, I didn't know what to choose. But soon I had a great idea. With my diploma, I can easily work as a family doctor for some rich and famous people. It's decided, I'll start working on it tomorrow, and I'll rest today. Here comes the morning. Sweetly stretching in my bed, I reluctantly lifted my butt and trudged towards the bathroom. Having done all my chores, I immediately sat down at the computer and began to look for suitable ads. An hour of hard work, but I still didn't find anything worthwhile. And literally by chance I came across a short ad. It read like this: "A family doctor is needed for a family. Decent salary. And a phone number." There was nothing else in it, no conditions, no family name. I don't know what attracted me to such a strange and suspicious ad. But I decided to call anyway. Having quickly dialed the number, I began to wait for someone to answer. "I'm listening." A pleasant female voice soon answered me. "Hello?" I answered somewhat uncertainly. "I'm here about the ad." "Oh, hello." The woman continued asking me about everything she could, and I answered. "Okay. Then I'll be expecting you today at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and we'll talk some more," said Makoto. During the conversation, she introduced herself. "Okay. See you later," I smiled and put the phone down. My happiness knew no bounds. I felt that I would succeed. I was jumping around the apartment like crazy, twirling my cat in my hands, who was trying with all his might to escape from the tenacious hands of his mistress. In the end, I threw him up, to which he screamed like a pig, and caught him successfully. A minute later, I finally put down the tortured animal, which had hurriedly disappeared under the sofa, and went to the closet with clothes. So, what should I wear so that the owners have a good opinion of me? I thought out loud. After looking over the pile of clothes, I made up my mind. "That's what I need," I said, and took the thing I liked. It was a pink blouse in the color of my hair with a black belt on the waist and a black pencil skirt. Having thrown the chosen ones on the bed, I stood near the mirror, combing my long, unusually colored pink hair. Having finished with my hair, I lightly put on makeup. The first impression is the most important thing, I thought, looking at myself in the mirror. "It'll do," I said, smiling sweetly at my reflection. Having put on the prepared blouse and skirt and taking my handbag, I left the house. "I'll take a taxi. Let my baby have a rest today," I thought, cheerfully clicking my heels. Baby was what I called my car. Mitsubishi Lancer 10. A snow-white car with black wheels. I love it more than anything. Having caught a taxi, I went to the address Makoto gave me. Soon I was there and, having paid the driver, I got out. In front of me stood a luxurious 2-story house. I opened my mouth in admiration as I looked at such a beautiful building. Wow was all I could say, and I went to the house. I rang the doorbell and waited for someone to open the door. Soon I heard hurried steps, and the door opened. But only when I saw who opened the door, I lost the gift of speech. I just silently stared at the object of my shock, not even blinking. "Hinata?" I asked, stuttering. She was in the same shock as me. "Sakura?" Having come to our senses, we rushed to hug each other. "Saku, what brought you to this place?" Hina asked with a happy smile when we stopped hugging. "I arranged an interview with Makoto-san," I replied. "And you, then, work here. It would be great if they accepted me too. The owners have needed a family doctor for a long time. Yeah, I'll keep my fingers crossed for you." The brunette smiled, and we finally went into the house. It was as beautiful inside as it was outside. Lots of paintings, figurines, vases. There was expensive furniture. Now Hina sat me down on one of their representatives, on a white leather sofa. She herself rushed to call the owner. "Hinata is my cousin. We haven't seen each other for about 3 years. I knew that she worked as a housekeeper in some rich family, But I couldn't even think that I would come to those rich people for whom my sister works. My train of thought was interrupted by quiet steps on the stairs. I turned around. A cute brunette of about 40 was coming down from the second floor. "Hello? You must be Sakura?" she asked, smiling sweetly. "Yes. It's me." I stood up and smiled too. For the next hour, we talked with Makoto-san. She asked me about my skills, experience, etc. And in the end, I was accepted. I was over the moon. I wanted to jump, but I held back. Otherwise, Makoto-san would think that their family doctor is crazy. Of course, I was very curious why I was accepted, even despite my young age and almost no experience. "Then I suggest you move into our house. Our house is big, there is enough for everyone," the brunette suggested. I thought for a bit and agreed. Then she called the driver and asked him to go to my house to get my things. Hinata volunteered to be an assistant, and we went. We chatted happily the whole way and were both incredibly happy that from now on we were working in the same house. Having collected everything we needed, we headed back. Hinata showed me my room, which was next to her room. And opposite our rooms were the rooms of the landlady's sons. Makoto has 2 sons. One is 20, like me, and the other is a year older. I wonder if I'll be able to get along with them? Hina says that there's no need to try, since both brothers are arrogant and only think about themselves. But I've concluded that given her personality, she thinks so. She's a quiet, modest girl, and I'm her complete opposite. So it's worth a try. Hina also says that both brothers are incredibly handsome, and there are rumors that they even have fan clubs. Wow, where have I ended up? When I asked her if she liked any of them, she shook her head. I know that she secretly pines for my friend Naruto. "Saku, I have to tell you something," she said suspiciously. "Spill it." "Well, how can I say it?" She scratched the back of her head. "This is the Uchiha's house." From her words my jaw dropped to the floor with a sound. "That's a good joke, Hina." I tried to smile. "But I'm not joking. It's the absolute truth." She looked at her watch. "In about 15 minutes you'll see for yourself." "What?" "I'm leaving, bye," I said, waving my hand. The thing is, Sasuke Uchiha, the youngest son, was my classmate and, at the same time, my friend. But one day, he betrayed his friends. But that's nothing. Things are much worse with my older brother. I loved him in middle school, and when he asked me out, I was over the moon. But that same day, I accidentally overheard a conversation between Itachi and the bespectacled fool, Karen. Flashback. "I don't believe it. It just can't be. He's going to ask me out." These were the thoughts in the head of a girl with short pink hair. She was happily walking along the empty school corridor. She was wearing a long black skirt and a gray blouse. On her feet were strange ballet flats. She was happier than ever. Today, the most popular guy in school asked her to be his girlfriend. Half of the school is chasing him, the other half is chasing his brother, Sasuke, and for some reason he chose her, a gray mouse who is no different, either in figure nor in appearance. Of course, she is very pretty, but no one notices it. The girl was distracted from her thoughts by someone's voices. They came from around the corner, so the pink-haired girl was not noticed. "Karen, that was a bad idea," said one voice. The girl recognized this voice immediately. "Itachi." "Why bad?" "Very good indeed. I've wanted to spite her for a long time," said Karen, throwing herself on the brunette's neck. "And what did she do to you?" "It's not nice to play on people's feelings," the guy answered. "She just drives me crazy." The nerd, the redhead, was wearing a very short blue dress and shoes with huge stiletto heels. Itachi sighed, and Karen pulled him close and kissed him passionately on the lips. The poor pink-haired girl watched all this, tears streaming down her cheeks. "No. Why did they do this to me? What did I do to them?" flashed through the poor girl's mind. She quickly turned around and ran away from that place. And she still doesn't know that she was noticed that day. End flashback. After that day, I decided to change completely, both externally and internally. The first thing I did was transfer to another school. With my grades, it was easy as pie. Long skirts and gray sweaters were replaced by loose miniskirts and blouses with open necklines. There was nothing left of the shy and quiet girl. But no one knows how I cried into my pillow at night. From my old school, I only maintained relationships with Naruto Uzumaki. When he saw the new Sakura, he almost fell over. At the new school, I immediately had a ton of admirers. And soon I was on the list of the most popular bitches in school. I started dating the most popular guy in school, Sasori, and I lost my virginity with him. But soon after that, I dumped him. He tried to get me back for a long time, but at that time I was already dating someone else. Over the years, I dated many people, but I never loved anyone, because I couldn't forget the dark-eyed brunette. But as soon as I started to forget him, this happened. Hey. Wait. Have you forgotten that you work here? Hinata grabbed my hand when I wanted to leave the room. Damn. But Hina, I don't want to see him. I couldn't forget him for so long. I whined pretendingly. Don't pay any attention to him. And he won't either. My sister tried to persuade me. You've changed so much since your last meeting that he won't even recognize you. Come on, Saku, don't leave me alone again. The brunette asked, making a kawaii face. I sighed heavily. Okay, but only for you. I broke down. Hinata threw herself on my neck with a happy squeal. Hina, I can't breathe. I wheezed, starting to choke. Oh, I'm sorry. The sister smiled guiltily. Half an hour passed, but the brothers still hadn't arrived. Maybe they picked up some hookers and were having fun? I hope so. I was sitting on the couch opposite Mikoto, drinking tea. Hinata was dusting the bookshelves. Then I heard the sound of the door opening. My heart sank. I stared at the door, transfixed. Hinata looked at me in fear, waiting for a reaction. The door opened, and a cute brunette walked into the house. He was wearing regular jeans and a jacket. Sasuke. And after him came the one I wanted to see the least. So many years had passed, and he still hadn't changed his hairstyle. The same long black hair, pulled back into a low ponytail. He was wearing a black shirt that emphasized his muscular body. A few unbuttoned buttons on top showed a medallion in the shape of the Uchiha clan mark. And slightly worn black jeans. And he's still as handsome as ever, the bastard. Somehow forcing myself to look away from them, I stared at the cup of tea. You guys are late today, the woman said, standing up and heading towards her sons. Yes, that idiot, Sasori, lost count, Itachi answered. Sasori? Namesake what? And then the younger Uchiha's gaze stopped on me. Damn it. I hope they don't find out. I hope they don't find out. I kept repeating to myself. I need to dye my hair pink immediately. Not many people have pink hair. Sasuke smiled slyly, looking at me. What a bastard. Oh, I forgot to tell you. Let me introduce you. This is Sakura. She is our family doctor. Mikoto introduced me to my sons. I shuddered and quickly stood up. Now Itachi was staring at me too. He started to examine me, just like his younger brother. Hello? I forced a smile and bowed in greeting. Damn, I needed to change my name. And my last name. And my country of residence. And my gender. Isn't she too young to be a doctor? Itachi asked with a grin. It's not a problem. Mikoto waved it off. Itachi didn't answer, continuing to devour me with his impudent gaze. I won't give up. I won't love you anymore, Uchiha. Mikoto asked Hinata to bring tea for everyone. I even felt a bit awkward that she was talking to me like a guest. She said that I am not a servant, but a doctor. And that I will be like a member of the Uchiha family. It's stupid, of course, but still. Sasuke was sitting opposite me, staring at me without stopping. Exo. The little bastard. Although we are the same age, he is a month younger. Itachi was sitting next to his brother, writing something on his laptop. Sakura-san, where are you from? Sasuke spoke up. Hinata, who was serving tea, almost spilled the drink on Itachi. Me? I'm from Tokyo, I lied, taking a sip of tea. If I said that I was from Konoha, they would definitely understand. I see, he said, taking a sip. Then Mikoto got a call and she excused herself and walked away. I was still looking at the cup of tea. Hinata passed by and nudged me slightly. I got her hint. Do you work? Or study? I asked. I work and study by correspondence, the brunette answered. His brother was still sitting, not looking up from his laptop. I see, was all I answered, sipping tea. Have we met before? You remind me of someone very much. After Sasuke's question, I almost choked on my tea, and Hina dropped the rag from her hands. This time Itachi also turned his attention to us. Sasuke stood up and patted me on the back. Thank you, I croaked. Damn it, what can I think of? I doubt we could have met before. I've only been in this city for a week, I answered. Itachi shook his head and stared at his laptop again. But still, you remind me of someone terribly, Sasuke began again. What a persistent turkey. What can I say this time? Guys, your father called me. He and I are leaving for a few days today. I've already packed my things and I'm leaving in 20 minutes. Our conversation was fortunately interrupted by Mikoto. Again? Asked the elder Uchiha without looking up from his work. Yes. Work, the woman shrugged and went upstairs. Cool. Sasuke exclaimed happily, we'll have another party today. He started calling his friends. I watched the guy with my mouth open in shock. The last thing we need is that they won't let us sleep tonight. I looked at my sister. She just shrugged. She's used to it, poor thing. You're both invited too. Itachi's voice reached us. Could he really talk? Wow. We looked at him questioningly. He shrugged and started typing again. Then Mikoto came out with a suitcase. Okay then. I'm going. The woman smiled and, having kissed her sons, went to the exit. Sakura, Hinata. Please keep an eye on the boys. I understand that this is not your responsibility, but I will pay, said the brunette. We nodded, and the woman left. POV Itachi. This new doctor. I recognized her right away. Sakura Haruno. And you've changed. I didn't think you were so beautiful. I was still sitting at my laptop, writing a report. Sakura was chatting about something with Hinata. As I remember, they are relatives. I kept glancing at the pink-haired girl. For a long time, I couldn't forget what Karen had planned, and I, a fool, agreed. I felt very sorry for the girl, and I wanted to apologize to her. But the next day she didn't come to school. And a week later, I found out that she had left. Of course, I didn't immediately understand why. But when they told me that this girl loved me, I understood everything. I broke her heart. She was not like everyone else. She didn't shout my name every time we met, she didn't cling, she didn't hang around my neck. She's different. I need to talk to her, ask for forgiveness. But I'm not sure that she will forgive. But nothing hurts. So, the people will gather at 9. It's 6 o'clock. We have 3 hours to get ready. Sasuke said, looking at his watch. Who's for drinks? I'll go. But I need a partner, I answered, putting the laptop aside. Sakura-san, come with me? I asked the girl. She jerked and stared at me. Let's go, I stood up and, taking the girl by the hand, dragged her towards the exit. Can you make it easier, Itachi-san? She squeaked when we left the house. Sorry, I said, and let the girl go. She started rubbing her wrists. Damn, I must have squeezed her hand too hard. I pressed the alarm, and the car beeped. Let's go, I said, and got into the car. She stood there for a bit, but then sighed heavily and got in. We rode in silence. I wanted to talk to her about everything, apologize, but I didn't know where to start. She didn't want to talk either. Haruno? Why are you silent? I asked, not taking my eyes off the road. She shuddered and slowly turned her face in my direction. Her eyes were the size of saucers. So she thought I didn't recognize her. You got something mixed up, she replied, and again stared out the window. Sakura, don't be silly. I recognized you right away. I stopped the car near the store. She stared out the window without looking away. I was looking for you then, I said quietly. Why? She asked, still looking out the window. I wanted to apologize. I was against Karen's idea from the very beginning. But I don't know what came over me, I don't know. I answered her. I see, she said. Sakura, forgive me. For the first time in my life I asked someone for forgiveness. I forgave, she answered quietly. I can't see. What should I do to make you forgive me? I hope she won't ask me to be her boyfriend, Or worse, asked to be her wife. She looked at me for the first time that evening. And then she smiled slyly. I don't like this. Hinata's POV. I hope Sakura is doing well. Why did Itachi decide to take her? Maybe he liked her? Anything is possible. Now I was sitting in the hall. And Sasuke was walking around the room, calling his friends. Itachi and Sakura haven't been here for a long time, he said. And indeed. I was so lost in myself that I didn't notice that the guys had been gone for 2 hours. Sasuke-kun, maybe I should call them? I asked in a quiet voice. I called. No answer, he said. Strange. I hope nothing bad happened. Just as I was thinking about it, the door to the house opened and a very pleased Sakura and a very disheveled Itachi walked in. Sasuke burst out laughing at the sight of his pale, disheveled brother. What happened? I don't understand anything. Itachi silently walked into the house and put the bags of drinks on the table. What happened, Itachi? Sasuke asked through laughter. I won't go with her anymore, he said after a short pause. Sasuke laughed even more. Sakura laughed too. So, I didn't get it. Sakura's POV. So? You recognized me after all. And now you're asking for forgiveness. Where is the world heading? Uchiha, you're changing. You ask what? Fine. Give me the car, I'll take us home, I asked with a sly smile. He blinked in surprise. But you don't have a license, the guy tried to get out of it. What's this? I took my license out of my purse. It doesn't matter, he said. Okay then. I muttered resentfully and turned away to the window. Okay then. Get in, the guy gave in. I got out of the car with a victorious smile and sat in the driver's seat. He has a cool car. An Audi R8. Let's see how long it can go on the highway. I slowly pulled out onto the road. Because the road wasn't very wide, I couldn't drive fast. And now the car was moving a little faster than a turtle. Itachi looked at the road and then at me with caution. And I was still afraid. But you drive like a turtle, said Uchiha, when we had just driven onto the highway. In vain you said that, Uchiha. I smiled sarcastically, and slowly pressed the gas pedal. The car began to smoothly pick up speed, deftly overtaking oncoming cars. Itachi shrank into the passenger seat, and looked at the road in shock. His face gradually acquired a marble hue. One can only laugh at his expression. The speed of the Audi increased, and Uchiha's condition worsened. Although he was silent, you can tell from his eyes that he was scared. The speedometer showed 150 km/h. Soon a familiar street and a familiar house appeared. I did not slow down. Haruno the brunette howled, probably understanding my intentions. With a sly smile I sharply pressed the brake. And the car, turning 180 degrees, parked near the house. Thanks for the ride, Itachi-san, I thanked the guy and went out. The guy himself followed me out, or rather crawled out, with his bag slung over his shoulder. I was happily walking towards the Uchiha house. Pleased with myself, the brunette trailing behind me. His pale face and disheveled black hair made me burst into laughter, but I held back. Do you think I forgave you? Don't even dream about it. I will remember your actions for the rest of my life. You can't imagine how bad I felt. I will mock you even more, Uchiha. Opening the door, I went into the house. Uchiha followed me, dragging his burden. Hinata and Sasuke were in the house. Seeing the state of his older brother, Sasuke burst out laughing. Zero emotion from the older brother. What happened? Asked the surprised Hinata. Sasuke couldn't calm down. Nothing like that, I just gave it a ride, I said without any emotion. Nani? Hinata began to stutter, since she knew my hobby firsthand. I won't go with her anymore, Itachi finally said, putting the bags on the table and sitting down on the sofa. Itachi, you better go get yourself in order, otherwise soon guests will start coming. And when they see you, they will say that a homeless person has broken into our house. Itachi, don't embarrass me, the younger Uchiha was still laughing. Stupid little idiot, Itachi said and headed to his room. Literally a few minutes later, the first guests arrived. As I understood, these were Sasuke's friends. Hinata and I felt uncomfortable in such company, and really wanted to leave. When I asked if it was possible to leave, Sasuke categorically answered no. Are they kidding me? flashed through my head. More than anything, I wanted to throw everything to hell and go to bed. Hina shared my opinion. The brunette, not used to staying up late, was literally falling off her feet. Then the doorbell rang again, and Hina trudged to open it. 2 girls came into the house. One was a blonde with a high ponytail, and the other was a redhead with glasses. I recognized them right away. Karen and Ino. So they still communicate? Although what's surprising about that? And I wouldn't be surprised if they were still together. Hinata sat down next to him again, looking at the dancing girls. Hi cutie, why aren't you dancing? Some blonde guy came up to us. You could tell right away that he was drunk. Firstly, his behavior, and secondly, you could smell him from a mile away. I don't really have much desire, I answered, crossing my arms over my chest. You're beautiful, let's get to know each other better, said the blonde man, and moved closer to me. Come closer, you say? Well, let's go. With a sly smile, I headed towards the bathroom. The blonde obediently followed me. Already on the way to the door, he pressed me tightly to himself. Let's start right now, he said, stroking my thigh through my skirt. Okay, I smiled slyly and pushed the impudent guy away with force. Then, kicking him into the bathroom, I closed the door. You're a young pervert, I said, rubbing my palms. One less drunk, who's next? I mumbled, sitting down next to Hinata. She giggled. Let's have a drink, or something. Why are we sitting like wild animals? The brunette suggested. To say that I am not surprised is to say nothing. This girl amazes me more and more. But I still agreed. Oh, I'll get drunk now and punch some chick in the face again, I thought, taking a sip of wine. When I'm drunk, I'm always looking for trouble, but I hope they'll pass me by today. An hour passed. Something incredible was happening in the Uchiha house. A drunken crowd of young people were dancing some incomprehensible dances. Half of them were lying on the floor. Hina and I, already pretty drunk, were still sitting on the couch. In that hour I had already rejected 3 perverts, and now all 3 were sitting in the bathroom. Excellent, you couldn't think of anything better. Saku, let's go dance or something. My ass is already tired of sitting, said drunk Hinata. I looked at my sister in surprise. But realizing that no one was dancing, I agreed. We went to the center and started moving to the rhythmic music. Hinata moved somehow uncertainly, and I, on the contrary. My movements were fast, rhythmic, sexy. That more than half of the guys, their mouths were open. The Uchihas, as I could see, were now sitting on the couch with some girls. I recognized Karen in one of them. Red-haired bitch. I hate her. I'll take revenge on you too, you red-haired, bespectacled shrew. Here I feel that someone is pressed against me from behind, holding me by the waist. I didn't pay any attention to it, because I was drunk. If I had been sober, that impudent fellow would have already been lying headless in a ditch. He pressed himself tighter and tighter, raising his hands up to my chest. Well, this is beyond impudence. I turned to face the stranger and was taken aback. This impudent fellow turned out to be none other than Sasuke Uchiha. My eyes popped out of my head from his impudence. He probably decided to lose his reproductive organ. Well, I'll be happy to help him with that. Grabbing him by that very spot, I led the guy towards the bathroom. He was squealing in pain. Well, just a delight for my ears. And if it was his brother who was squealing, then I probably would have died of happiness. Having locked the youngest Uchiha in the bathroom, along with 3 others like him, I returned to Hinata, who was being pestered by some guy. What kind of day is it today? I decided to help my sister out. Coming closer, I said in a sweet voice. Hey, handsome. Do you want to get to know me better? I smiled coquettishly and called him with my finger. The guy practically started drooling at the sight of me. I slowly headed towards my now favorite bathtub, and not forgetting to beckon him with my finger. He followed me like an obedient slave. And now we are already at the door. I pulled him towards me by the back of his head and whispered in his ear. Freshen up, handsome, and kicked him to his friends. Thank you very much. Hinata thanked me when I returned to her. No problem, just ask. I winked at the brunette. We poured ourselves some more wine and went dancing again. Then I caught Karen's gaze, who was sitting lordly on Itachi's lap. But you couldn't tell from his face that he was pleased, rather the opposite. She whispered something to the brunette, but he stared at me. And then, as if probably answering her question, he shook his head in denial. Don't be silent. POV Itachi. And who the hell invited that bespectacled otter? Sasuke must have tried. He knows how I feel about her. Even though we broke up right after that incident with Sakura, she's been trying to get me back all these years. Itachi, that girl over there reminds me a lot of Haruno, don't you think? The redhead whispered in my ear. I looked at the pink-haired girl. She was looking at me. She probably recognized Karen. I shook my head. She doesn't need to know that this is Sakura. If she finds out, I don't know what she'll do. I'll go and meet her, she said and got up from my lap. I wanted to stop her, but she quickly moved towards the girls. Sakura's POV. Well, damn it. This otter is coming towards us. What should we do? God forbid she finds out. Hello? I haven't seen you before, but you remind me of someone terribly. I'm Karen. The redhead extended her hand to me. Okay, I need to lie about something urgently. I looked at Uchiha. He was watching all this while sitting on the couch. Corey, I lied, holding out my hand. As much as it was disgusting to me, I had to do it. She looked at me suspiciously. She probably doesn't believe me. Really? I see, she said. And I think your name is Sakura. Oh my, I guessed it. My eyes got bigger. I need to get out of here right now. You're wrong, I said and stood up. I caught Hinata's worried look. I headed towards my room, but then I felt someone grab my hand. I recognized you right away, big-headed one. Even if you were a brunette, I would recognize your mug out of 1,000, she hissed, squeezing my wrist. Let me go, Red Otter, I growled and pulled my hand away. How dare you? She growled and slapped me. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Itachi stand up and take a few steps towards us. Oh, you creature, I hissed and punched her in the jaw. She fell to the floor, and I wanted to hit her again. You will pay for everything, bitch. For all my tears, I sat on her and started hitting her in the face. But as soon as I swung for another blow, my hands were grabbed and I was pulled away from the red-haired person. Let me go. I tried to break free from someone's hands. Sakura, calm down, said the voice. I recognized this voice immediately. Itachi. But I didn't want to listen to him and continued to break free. When he got tired of holding me, he threw me over his shoulder and carried me towards my room. He came into my room and threw me on the bed. I immediately calmed down when I saw his angry look. Don't come out of here, he said and wanted to leave. Stop! I shouted and ran after the guy, grabbing his hand. He looked at me, his eyes flashing angrily. I even became scared, but I didn't show it. I won't let that creature treat me like that. I'm not the little girl I was at school anymore. And the one you love to make fun of. I won't let you behave like that, I screamed, squeezing the brunette's wrist. Calm down. I'll be right back, he said and left. I howled and plopped down on the bed. Goodbye, my job. I just got it, and because of this red-haired creature I lost it, I thought. About 10 minutes later my doorbell rang and Itachi came in. Let's go, he said, standing near the door. I sighed heavily and stood up, following him. Imagine my surprise when I saw only Sasuke and Hinata in the living room. I didn't understand what was going on, but it really surprised me. I sat down next to Hina. She smiled strangely. What happened? Where is everyone? I didn't understand. They left, she answered briefly. Itachi-san kicked them out. This is news. The star is in shock. How? I'll tell you later. Here, drink this. You need to calm down. Itachi handed me a glass with a clear liquid. What is this? I wondered. Drink, the brunette moved my hand closer. I sighed and obediently obeyed. The drink burned my throat. Sake. And indeed, it helped a little. Hinata's POV. This was a really bad idea after all. Sakura and I should have stayed in our rooms and kept a low profile. Some guys I didn't know kept pestering us. But thanks to Sakura, they're now sitting in the bathroom. Even Sasuke-kun is there. I hope she doesn't get fired after her outburst. I'll hope for the best. Now Sakura and I were sitting on the couch and watching the guests. Then I noticed that the bespectacled bitch Karen stood up and headed towards us. Hello? I haven't seen you before, But you remind me of someone terribly. I'm Karen. The redhead extended her hand to Sakura. I noticed that the girl tensed up, but then, pulling herself together, she answered. Corey. She extended her hand. I see, Karen drawled. You could tell from her face that she didn't believe it. I think your name is Sakura, she said here. Sakura's eyes widened in surprise. You are mistaken, she answered and stood up to leave. But then the bespectacled girl grabbed her hand. I recognized you right away, big-headed one. Even if you were a brunette, I would recognize your mug out of 1,000, she hissed, squeezing her wrist. Let me go, Red Otter, she growled and pulled her hand away. How dare you, she hissed and slapped her. Something's going to happen now. Oh, you creature, Sakura hissed and punched her in the jaw. She fell to the floor. You will pay for everything, bitch. For all my tears, she sat on her and started hitting her in the face. I watched this picture with fear. Then I saw Itachi running up to the girls. He grabbed Sakura by the hands and pulled her away from Karen. Sakura started to break free and scream at the man holding her. Sakura, calm down, the guy said, but Sakura didn't seem to hear him and stubbornly continued to break free. Itachi probably got tired of holding the kicking girl and he threw her on his shoulder and dragged her to the second floor. Ino helped Karen get up and took her to the bathroom. When they opened the door, not-so-drunk guys came out. Among them I noticed Sasuke. What happened? He asked, probably seeing Karen's bloody face. Where have you been, Sasuke? Something like that happened here. The pink-haired girl really gave her a hard time, said some guy who approached the younger Uchiha. Sakura. He answered, I've never seen anything like that. Damn. Do you know her? Introduce her, the guy said. Yes. She works for us, the brunette answered his question and left. Then Itachi came down from the second floor. To put it mildly, he was angry. Quickly, everyone gather your things and get lost, he shouted from the stairs. Everyone looked at him in surprise. By that time, Karen had already left. And me too, Itachi, she whined. You first, he growled and went back upstairs. All the guests quickly got ready and left. The more lumps, the faster the sale. Sakura's POV. Several days passed. Oddly enough, they didn't fire me. I was still working for the Uchiha. Well, how can I say I was working, sitting around? I only help them when they're hungover. Now I was sitting on the couch in the living room. Hinata was running around next to me, cleaning the house. The Uchihas were still at work, and Mikoto-san would not be home for another 5 days. I could say I was dying of boredom right now. Despite everything, our relationships with the guys had become much warmer. Especially with Sasuke. And I myself am not very eager to communicate with Itachi. And the strangest thing is that Sasuke never recognized me. Either he is an idiot, or he simply did not notice me at school. Most likely the second, since it's hard to believe that he's an idiot. Looking at my watch, I realized that it was already 8 o'clock in the evening. The Uchihas were late, but that didn't bother me too much. The longer they were at work, the better and calmer it was for me. They're late, the brunette said, as if she'd read my thoughts. I didn't answer, I just shrugged. And then we heard the sound of the door opening. As they say, remember the SHT and it will float out. The guys came into the house. Having hung up their outerwear, they came to us. Hello, girls, said the younger one, falling onto the sofa from fatigue. Itachi just mumbled something like hello and went to his place. How was your work day? Hinata asked him. As always, nothing new, he replied. Today is Saturday, which means the Uchihas will be drinking again. Underage alcoholics, damn it. Hina, what's for dinner? The guy said. She answered and ran to put food on her master's plate. We were left alone. He sat silently sprawled on the sofa, his head thrown back. I inadvertently began to look at the guy. And he's not bad either, cute. Why didn't I fall in love with him? It would probably be easier. Although who knows these Uchihas? At that moment, Hinata comes out of the kitchen. Mr. Sasuke, dinner is ready, said the sister. Mr. Sasuke. I will never call you that, it will work out somehow. Thank you, Hinata, he said and stood up. Hinata and I were alone again. Beautiful. I figured out what we're going to do today. Half an hour later, Sasuke runs out of the kitchen. And so? I asked without any interest. Let's drink. he said. And I thought that you would come up with something new, I said. We will drink together, he finished his thought. I stared at him as if he were mentally ill. What? The guy asked, seeing my look. Why? I asked. Because we need to get to know each other properly, otherwise it's impossible to have a normal conversation with a noisy company, he answered. And Itachi-san won't be against it? Asked Hina. No, he's all for it. He said himself that the noise was annoying, he replied. I understand, I answered. And just as I said this, Itachi came down to the living room. Itachi, I have a proposal. Let's not invite anyone today, but just the four of us, Sasuke said, approaching his brother. I don't mind, without any emotion, the long-haired man answered and sat down on the sofa opposite me. He was wearing light jeans, a t-shirt and an unbuttoned shirt. Who's going to the store? Sasuke asked. Let me. Itachi stood up and took the car keys. Sakura, let's go, he said, already heading for the exit. I stared at him with my mouth open in surprise, and Hina and Sasuke looked at me with the same expression on their faces. How much longer should I wait for you? Came from the street. His voice seemed to bring me to my senses, and I ran after the guy. Having bought our fill, we went back home. We had exchanged only a few words the entire trip, and now we were driving home in silence. Tell me about yourself, Itachi suddenly said, without taking his eyes off the road. I was very surprised that he was interested in my life. Why do you need this? I just want to know who works for us, the guy replied. Well, okay. I'll be 20 soon, graduated from medical school with honors. Now I work for you. I don't have any parents, they died 3 years ago. I don't have many relatives either. One of them is the Hugo clan, but out of the whole family, I only communicate with your maid. Hinata, your sister? The guy asked. Yeah, that's all, I answered. Sakura, where did you disappear to then? After that incident? He asked, somewhat uncertainly. I don't want to tell Itachi about this. Sorry, he replied, and we continued driving in silence. When we got to the house, I got out of the car in silence, and quickly headed into the house. Itachi followed behind. Well, finally? I already thought that you had abandoned us and were drinking without us taking the bags from his brother's hands, Sasuke said. It didn't seem like it took that long, I said, sitting down on the sofa. You were gone for an hour, Hinata said. Wow, I was genuinely surprised. Okay, enough arguing. Sit down, Sasuke said. We all obediently obeyed. Hinata and I had a talk and decided to play a game. Which one? Itachi and I asked at the same time. A bottle, he cheerfully brought it to us. What? We shouted at the same time again. What's wrong? We'll get drunk now and everything will be okay, Sasuke said. What are we going to play for? Itachi asked. Well, let's make a wish. I agree. To my surprise, the long-haired man said. All three of them stared at me. Only desires on the edge of reason. And let's get drunk first, I agreed. Hinata squealed and hugged me. Itachi took over pouring the drinks while we waited for our drink to be served. Soon 3 bottles are gone and I feel like I'm drunk. I see that Hinata is no better. Looking at the guys, I realize that they are also normal. So, it's time to play, Sasuke said drunkenly and, taking an empty bottle, sat down in the center of the room. We all sat down next to him. I'm spinning, Sasuke said and started spinning. I watched the object's movement with excitement, hoping that it wouldn't stop on me. This time I was lucky, the bottle stopped on Hinata. So, what should I wish for? Sasuke thought. Oh, jump on one leg. Hinata's eyes widened. As much as she didn't want to embarrass herself, she still fulfilled her master's wish. She did it very funny, since she had poor balance. Sasuke and I burst out laughing, and Itachi smiled. That's it. Now it's me, said the red Hinata, sitting down in her place. The game turned out to be very exciting. We fulfilled such wishes as dancing like a gorilla, removing bottles, kissing someone present, etc. Now it's Itachi's turn to spin. During the entire game, his bottle never pointed at me, which made me happy. I watched the bottle move again. And when it stopped on me, I almost fell. I wonder what he'll wish for. To bring another bottle, or to go get some brine tomorrow. So, what should I wish for you? The guy thought, looking at the ceiling. Kiss me for real from his desire, I really fell. Sasuke whistled, hearing what his brother wished. Are you kidding? I asked. No, I'm serious, the brunette answered with a calm expression on his face. I opened my mouth in shock. Come on, Sakura, Sasuke said, clapping me on the shoulder. Itachi stood up, not taking his eyes off me. I sighed heavily and stood up too. I hope he forgets this tomorrow. I walked closer to the guy, not knowing what to do. Yes, he's making fun of me. I ran my hand over his cheek, but my gaze didn't meet the guy's. He, one might say, stood there dumbly and looked at me. There was complete silence in the room. Probably the guys were watching my actions. I rose up on my tiptoes and lightly touched the guy's lips with mine. And then something happened that I did not expect at all. He wrapped his arms around my waist and deepened the kiss. I was shocked, trying to push the guy away from me, but he pressed me tightly to himself. What is he doing? What will he achieve by doing this? I was already absolutely out of breath, and I still had to answer him. His grip weakened, but the guy wasn't going to let me go yet. He took my hands that were on his chest and threw them around his neck. After that, he was able to hug me even tighter. New sale as promised. I don't know how long the kiss lasted, but when his hands were on my butt, I heard Sasuke's voice. Ahem. Ahem. Don't get too carried away, you're not alone. We pulled away from each other, as if scalded. I instantly blushed and sat down on the sofa, pouring sake. Itachi's cheeks were also blushing. And then the doorbell rang. We all looked at each other. Who brought you here at such a time? Itachi said and went to open the door. Sasuke and Hinata sat down next to me. I still couldn't get over that kiss. Who are you? We heard the voice of a surprised Itachi. You. Then it's clear who my friend works for, said the voice. My friend. Who could it be? And the voice is so familiar. But I couldn't understand who it belonged to, since I was not quite sober yet. However, when curiosity got the better of me, I decided to see who was behind the door. Naruto? I was surprised to see a blonde guy on the threshold. Saku? So you work for them? My friend began. Calm down. Can he come in? I asked Itachi. He nodded, and I took Naruto by the hand and dragged him into the house. Sakura, explain? Said the blonde when we entered my room. Naruto, they pay me well, so I can't quit my job, I explained. Naruto knew about that story with Itachi, and he supported me a lot. We are like brother and sister, and that's why the blonde hated the Uchiha with all his heart. Have you forgiven him? He asked. No, I answered briefly. He didn't ask any more questions. We went downstairs. The guys were sitting on the sofas and slowly drinking wine. Itachi-san, can Naruto stay? It's already late, I asked, blushing a little, as I was still remembering the kiss. He nodded. Oh, booze, Naruto said cheerfully, and as if nothing had happened, he sat down next to Sasuke. No shame, no conscience, I said, rolling my eyes. Soon we were all drunk, and I didn't remember what happened. In the morning I woke up with a terrible headache. After taking a pill, I went to the bathroom. After washing, I put on ripped jeans and a t-shirt. I let my hair down and went downstairs. The living room was in a state of horror. Several empty bottles were scattered around the room. On one couch, I noticed Itachi sleeping. He was clutching a bottle of sake. On the second couch, I noticed Sasuke and Naruto sleeping in an embrace. Yaoi? I laughed out loud at this picture. Itachi woke up immediately, falling off the couch. Sasuke and Naruto woke up soon after. But when they saw each other, they screamed like women. Hinata, frightened, came running to the scream, with a bat in her hands. But seeing such a picture, she began to laugh. What happened yesterday? Naruto asked. You'll find out now, Hinata said suspiciously and took out her cell phone. She turned on some video. Afterwards I was able to make out what it was. It was from yesterday. Here Naruto and Itachi argued about who would drink a bottle of sake faster. Here I see that I am sitting with Itachi. And we are hugging. This shot made Itachi and I widen our eyes. What was that? Is it Photoshop? I squeaked. No, watch further, said Hinata. Next we see how the guys argue that whoever loses will put on makeup and go to the store. Wow, this is getting interesting, Sasuke commented. And who lost? Asked Itachi. Look, said Hina. Then you could see the guys drinking, and at the end of the video it was clearly visible that Naruto had won. What? How? Itachi was perplexed. Go paint your face, faggot, said Naruto, rejoicing in his victory. What? I never? The elder Uchiha howled. Go, you lost the bet, said Sasuke. Okay, but if anyone recognizes me, you're a hairy corpse, he addressed Naruto. How did you call me a hemophobe? Naruto boiled over. Itachi, without answering, went up to his room. Sakura, please give me your cosmetics, the guy from the second floor shouted shyly. I hurried to fulfill his request. Now the four of us are sitting in the living room, waiting for our princess. He has been gone for about 30 minutes. But then the door upstairs creaked, and Itachi's red, painted face appeared from there. We all burst out laughing. Idiots. God forbid you follow me. I'll kill you, he growled and left the house. No, that won't do, said Sasuke. You're right, get ready, I said, and we all followed Itachi. Sasuke, can I drive? I asked with puppy eyes. Yes, I'll just watch how you drive, Sasuke agreed. After waiting for Uchiha to disappear from sight, we quickly reached Sasuke's car. It was the same brand as Itachi's, but a different model. An Audi Q7. I sat in the driver's seat, Sasuke sat next to me. Naruto and Hinata sat in the back. Better buckle up, said Red Hinata, buckling up. Why? Naruto didn't understand. Ask Itachi, I said with a devilish smile and sharply pressed the gas pedal. Oh God, Lord, have mercy on me. Don't take my sinful soul, the blonde screamed, clutching the car seat with a death grip. I wish I would give you cars. Just one more time, but for nothing, Sasuke, who was sitting next to me, yelled. Hinata and I just laughed at the guy's reaction. Soon we noticed Itachi's car at some shopping center. I braked sharply and parked not far from the road. Just in case. Due to the surprise, Sasuke was printed into the glass, and Naruto into the back of the chair. I told you to fasten your seat belts, Hinata said in a didactic tone. Oh my nose, Sasuke squeaked, peeling his face away from the glass. Send Itachi to look for him already, I said, getting out of the car. Everyone followed me out. Sasuke rubbed his nose the whole way. Maybe I should fix it for you, I suggested, flexing my fists. No, he squeaked, waving his arms. As you wish, it's my job to suggest, I said, shrugging my shoulders. We all headed to the store. About 10 minutes later, we found Itachi in a men's clothing store. The saleswoman, a young girl, looked strangely at the guy. He, with a red face, was examining the t-shirt. Here is our beauty, Naruto chuckled. Quiet, he'll notice us now. Then we'll get into trouble, Hina whispered. Here Itachi put the thing back and headed for the exit. We went our separate ways. But on the way, Hinata bumped into Sasuke and they fell. I tripped over them and fell too. And Naruto ran in circles, not knowing what to do, and mumbled something. Then Itachi comes out and sees this picture. Sasuke and Hinata are lying on the floor, I am lying on them, and Naruto is running next to him, moaning. We're finished, I squeaked, trying to get up. Here it is for sale. What the FCK are you doing here, bastards? I'll f***ing kill you all right now, Itachi yelled at the whole store when he saw us. I somehow managed to get up and ran to the exit screaming. Hinata and Sasuke couldn't get up because the floor was slippery. And Naruto just kept running. Mommy, save me. I won't be here now, Sasuke yelled, trying to get up. Now you're going to eat your boot, you runt, Itachi yelled at his brother. Then they finally managed to get up and they rushed after me. On the way, they didn't forget to capture the crazy Naruto. It's more likely that you're a premature baby, Sasuke laughed. If I catch up with you, I'll do this to you. What? Will you FCK me? Naruto, who had just come to his senses, shouted. You first, he barked. Ah, save me. The faggots are coming, the blonde yelled, and now he's pulling the guys. I was the first to run to the car and started making hand signals for Sasuke to open the doors. Sasuke, open the car. We won't make it in time, Hinata shouted to the brunette. No, let Itachi fuck me rather than her send me to the next world. I didn't agree. That. Sasuke, your mother. I don't want to be fucked by your brother. Open up. Naruto screamed. The brunette finally gave in and opened the car. I quickly got into the car and started the engine. The boys were already running up too. A few meters away from them, an enraged Itachi was running. When the guys got into the car, I abruptly moved away, when Itachi was already near the car. I looked in the mirror. Itachi was all covered in dust, because the car moved too abruptly. Oh my god! Thank you for not taking my life. Naruto crawled out of the car and started kissing the ground near the house. Don't be picky. I walked past him, looking at his long nails. You're a demon. The blonde still didn't calm down. Thank you. I smiled and went to the house. Naruto howled. We went into the house. Sasuke went to take valerian, and Naruto 100 grams. And I sat down next to Hinata. Well, how cowardly you are. She drives better than all of you. She often participated in races and often took first place, said Hinata. The guys are shocked. What kind of car do you have? Sasuke became interested. Mitsubishi Lancer, I answered calmly. Wow. Why don't I know? Naruto was surprised. My best friend, and you're hiding such details. You would have definitely smashed her car, Kina laughed. Why is that? Sasuke asked. You should have seen how he drives, said the brunette. How? Give me your car for 20 minutes, you'll see what condition the tow truck brings it to you in, I answered, and everyone except Naruto laughed. Okay. I'm going to the bathroom. I got up and went to the bathroom. Half an hour later I washed myself and wrapped myself in a towel and went out. 3 pairs of eyes immediately stared at me. What? I asked, raising an eyebrow. No, nothing, everyone answered. Then the screeching of brakes was heard from the street, and a minute later an enraged Itachi appeared on the threshold. We're finished, was the first thing that came to my mind. Itachi was unrecognizable. He was wearing makeup, his hair was disheveled, and he was covered in dust, and it was all because of me. Well, that's it. Hold on, the guy growled, clenching his fists. Let's run. If we don't want to walk around with huge holes in our asses, Naruto shouted and ran. Everyone followed his example. Damn, he couldn't have come later. I would have at least gotten dressed, but now I'm in a towel, and underneath I'm wearing only panties. Naruto ran around the couch, lifting his legs high and squealing loudly. Hinata and Sasuke climbed up, and I decided to crawl under the table. I'll catch up with you, Shaggy Ram. It won't seem like a little thing. At that moment he was chasing Naruto, who was yelling even louder. Just don't touch my ass, the blonde shouted and rushed to the second floor at the speed of light. I was sitting under the table, clutching a towel to myself. Itachi was standing in the middle of the room, looking around. I hope he doesn't see me. I hope he doesn't see me. I kept repeating to myself. But as luck would have it, he looked in my direction and saw me sitting under the table. So here you are, Sakura, he growled and moved towards me. Exo. I'm finished, flashed through my head. I wanted to get out on the other side and run away, but the guy managed to grab my leg. Let me go, Uchiha, I screamed, trying to free myself. It's because of you that I'm all covered in dust, he growled, trying to pull me out from under the table. Having said this, he pulled my leg hard, and he managed to get me. When he was hovering over me, what I was afraid of happened. The towel slid off me. I looked at him. He was in deep shock and was looking at my chest. I instantly blushed, catching his gaze. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed that his pants, just below his stomach, were rising strangely. I understood what was going on, and even got scared. I don't know what was going on in his head. I also noticed a blush on his cheeks. He looked at my face. And then he kisses me passionately. I'm shocked. Are you crazy? I shouted, pushing the guy away sharply and pulling on the towel. I'm sorry, he said and quickly ran to the bathroom. When he disappeared behind the door, I quickly went up to my room and got dressed. I put on a short denim skirt and a t-shirt. I dried my hair with a hairdryer and tied it in a low ponytail. When I went downstairs, I realized that no one was there. When I sat down on the sofa, Naruto's quiet voice reached me. Where is the psycho? In the bathroom, I answered calmly. That's good. He's there for a long time, said the blonde and came out of his hiding place. Why did he do this? Maybe he wants me to fall in love with him again? You won't live to see Itachi. Calm down, my friend said and sat down next to me on the sofa. Was all I mumbled. About 10 minutes later Hina came down, and about 5 minutes later Sasuke. Where is Itachi? He asked. In the bathroom. Washing off dust and makeup from his face, Naruto answered. That's good. I just wonder why he calmed down so quickly. Usually he gets mad for a long time, Sasuke said. Sakura, you were here. What happened? Nothing. He didn't find me. He yelled and went to the bathroom, I said calmly, so as not to give myself away. I see, said Sasuke and went to the kitchen. What are we going to do today? My sister asked. I shrugged. I'm not in the mood to have fun right now. Sasuke came back later. Sasuke, what are we going to do? Naruto immediately jumped up to the brunette. He also shrugged. Then let's get drunk, Naruto gave his verdict, and grabbing Sasuke by the hand, dragged him into the store. Well, another fun evening is ahead. Then the bathroom door opened and Itachi came out, all wet and dissatisfied. Hinata tensed up, and I sat with my head down. Calm down. I have forgiven you, he said briefly and headed upstairs. I couldn't help but look after him. But he turned around at the wrong time and our eyes met. No matter how much I didn't want to, I couldn't look away. He was looking at me too. His black eyes were so captivating. Only now did I notice that he was wearing only sweatpants. And his wet hair was fluffed up. Somehow pulling myself together, I lowered my gaze. A minute later we heard footsteps. He was gone. Hinata was sitting next to me all this time. Seeing my condition, she asked, "What happened to you? And don't lie to me, it's written all over your faces." I had to tell her everything because I knew she wouldn't leave me alone. "This is so passionate," she said when I finished my story. "Listen, maybe he's just not indifferent to you." I choked on her verdict. "No. This can't be. It's more likely that he hasn't had that one for a long time, and that's why it's sticking." I started to wriggle out of it. "What if?" She didn't calm down. "Hinata, that's it. Let's forget about it." "I don't want to talk about him," I said loudly. Then we heard footsteps upstairs. "Itachi." I tensed. "Calm down," my sister whispers to me, seeing my condition. "I can't," I answered the same. Itachi walked past us into the kitchen. "Sakura, I'll go and change my clothes." "Okay?" said Hina, getting up from the sofa. "Okay. Just hurry up." She ran upstairs. I remained sitting alone, hoping that Itachi would not come out before Hina arrived. But my hopes were not justified. Literally 5 minutes later a guy came out of the kitchen. He stood on the threshold for a while, and then moved on. I sat there as if on pins and needles. After walking a little, he stopped again. "Sakura, forgive me. I don't know what came over me," he said in a guilty voice. "Wow, Uchiha, what have you come to? This is the second time in a few days that you've asked for forgiveness. You never allowed yourself to do that before." I raised my head and looked at the guy. "It's okay, Itachi-san," I said and turned away again. "I can't see." The guy exhaled and walked over to sit down next to me. "Well, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm an idiot. I couldn't help myself," he began. "Itachi, no need. Really, everything is fine," I smiled slightly, so that the guy would leave me behind faster. "You really aren't offended?" It's true, I answered. "Of course I'm not offended. I just hate you, Uchiha." "Then prove it." "What? Do you still need to prove it?" "How?" "Well, if you don't mind, come with me to buy groceries." I was deeply shocked by his words. I can't understand why he cares so much about this. "Okay. Go get ready," I answered, and we went to our rooms. "Here is the sale." "Sorry it took so long, there were some minor problems." Chapter 9 POV Itachi. And really, what came over me? Why I kissed her, and the strangest thing is, why I want to do it again. I know that she hasn't forgiven me, so I decided to invite her with me. Lately I don't recognize myself. No other girl has ever attracted me so much. And why did she in particular touch me so much? I'll say one thing for sure, I like her. She's not like everyone else. Although she has changed, inside she is still the same girl who loved me. I wonder if she likes me now. I don't know. Maybe I should ask Hinata, she should know. Although no, then she'll tell Sakura that I asked about her. I won't even ask Naruto, he doesn't like me very much anyway. Okay, enough thinking about her, time to get ready. Putting on a shirt and black jeans, I went out into the living room. The pink-haired one wasn't there yet. Well, now I still have to wait for her. To my surprise, the girl came out after 5 minutes. Let's go, I said without any emotion. She nodded and we left the house. 2 hours passed. Having bought everything, we were driving back. On the way we stopped at a clothing store. And I bought the girl a dress and said that if she forgave me, she should accept my gift. She accepted it reluctantly. Entering the house, we were surprised by the silence that reigned there. We looked at each other in surprise. Since Naruto came to our house, silence is a rare occurrence in this house. I put the food in the refrigerator, and then I heard a noise. It was coming from the 2nd floor. I went out to the living room. Sakura looked at me and then at the stairs leading to the 2nd floor in fear. I understood what she wanted and I headed towards the noise. On the stairs I felt thin fingers that grabbed my shirt. I grinned and continued on my way. The noise came from Sasuke's room. Sakura didn't let go of my shirt the whole way. Having opened the door to my brother's room, we fell into a stupor. These freaks, the 3 of them, without us, were sitting on his bed and drinking. My eye even started twitching from shock. Sakura looked out from behind me and seeing this, opened her mouth. What a present, she squeaked. Oh. Sakura and this one came, Naruto said drunkenly and stood up, plopping down on the floor. So. There are sober people on the horizon. Eliminate them immediately, said Sasuke, taking a bottle of sake from under his pillow. Oh my god! It's like a madhouse here, said the medic, looking at the 3 drunk people. Exactly, I agreed with her words. Drink sober people. Sasuke crawled to us and gave us glasses of sake. And Hina brought snacks. Now I understand how I look when I'm drunk. We took glasses and drank. And soon there were 2 more drunk people. Sakura's POV. The morning greeted me with a terrible headache. After taking a pill, I went downstairs. Everyone was there except Itachi. Good morning, drunk, Naruto said. Oh, who's talking? I grimaced. And then Naruto asked the question that had become boring to everyone. What are we going to do today? We all shrugged. Let's boo, we didn't let him finish, interrupting him with a short, no. I suggest we go to the club. A voice reached us from somewhere above. Raising my head, I saw Itachi, who was going down. Good idea, otherwise I'm always at home and at home, Sasuke agreed. We all agreed too. The evening came. I put on the dress that Itachi had forced on me. It was a short black dress with a deep neckline. On my feet were shoes with a stable heel. I let my pink hair down. Is everyone here? Itachi asked. Everyone nodded. Well then, let's go. I'm driving, I said quickly, catching up with the guy. Okay. But only on the condition that you don't speed, said the brunette. I reluctantly agreed. Here we are already at the club. As we agreed, I didn't rush. Am I really alive? Naruto happily got out of the car. Do you need this too quickly? I asked. No, everything is fine, Sasuke answered for him. Let's go already. What are you standing there for? Itachi said and headed towards the club. Not much later we followed. Itachi walked in front. I kept catching interested glances from girls. Some were making eyes at him, and some even came up to him. I feel like I'm about to explode. It turns out I'm jealous. You're an idiot, Harino. They let us in without any problems, since they knew the guys here well. I'm going to the bar, Naruto said quickly when we just walked inside. I decided not to drink today, that's enough for now, otherwise I'll turn into an alcoholic. What are you going to drink? Asked Itachi, who was now standing nearby. I only noticed that we were alone. Hinata and Sasuke had disappeared somewhere. I won't. Later, some other time, I answered, sitting down at the previously reserved table. I also decided not to drink today. We've been drinking every day since Naruto arrived, said the long-haired man. Hinata and Sasuke came up to us. They were holding cocktails in their hands. Why don't you drink? Asked Sasuke. And we gave up for today, I answered. Hina looked at her glass and said, I'll just drink this too, and that's enough. Half an hour passed. Hina did not keep her promise, and now she is dancing with some cute guy. I should probably pick someone up too. I'm sitting here almost alone. I looked towards the older Uchiha who was sitting next to me. Sasuke had also picked someone up, and now who knows where, the devil knows where he is. Naruto didn't go further than 2 meters from the bar. I got up from the table and headed towards the back of the room. Where are you going? Itachi asked, noticing me. Yes, just like that. To dance, I answered and continued on my way. There were a lot of people. Moving through the crowd, I looked for a cute guy. There were a lot of them, but almost all of them were already taken. Looking back, I noticed that some silicone slut had sat down next to Itachi. I smirked, the urge to hook up with someone for the evening increasing. I stood in the middle of the room and started moving. I closed my eyes and didn't look at the people around me. I just didn't want to see Itachi, since my gaze always finds him. What the hell? I hadn't danced much by myself yet. Then I felt someone's hands on my waist. The stranger was stroking my stomach through my dress and moving up. I smiled and turned to face him. He was a nice guy with red hair and black-rimmed eyes. He pulled me close and we started dancing. What's your name? He said in my ear. Sakura. And you? I answered. Gaara. Very nice. Mutually. And he didn't do anything flash through my head. Then I saw Itachi, who had been watching me all this time. Let's see what happens if I do this, I thought, and pulled the guy to me and kissed him passionately. He responded immediately and pressed me to himself. And he's a great kisser. I hugged the guy around the neck, deepening the kiss. But then I felt someone forcefully pull me away from the shocked guy. I didn't understand what was going on. But when I saw who interrupted us, anger began to boil inside me. Chapter 10 How dare he? He is no one to me to control my life. He held my wrist tightly and walked quickly through the crowd of dancing people towards the exit. Let me go right now, I growled, trying to free myself. In response, he only pulled my hand hard. I screamed and almost fell. It's still difficult to practically run in huge heels. After leaving the club, he continued walking quickly to the parking lot. What is he planning? Does he want to take me home and lock me up like a little child? What are you doing? I squeaked, trying to stop. But realizing that at this rate I would only break my legs, I continued walking. We were at his car. He pressed the alarm and opened the door, forcibly pushing me inside. As soon as I was in the car, I tried to get out right away. But that bastard pressed the alarm again and the car locked. Then, when he came to the driver's door, he quickly opened it and went in. I tried to run away again. But he only grabbed my elbow hard. I screamed. In the meantime, he closed all the doors. What are you doing, idiot? I shouted, but there was silence in response. He started the car and pulled away abruptly. We were driving in an unknown direction. Houses, trees, shops flashed past the window. But I still couldn't understand where he was taking me. Then he turned to the right and I could see that we were in a deserted place, near a cliff. Nanny? Is he going to throw me off? I panicked in my thoughts. He stopped abruptly. He was still angry. And why did he react like that? Do you want sex? Okay, now you'll get it, he growled and passionately bit my lips. What? What did he say? Is he out of his mind? He's drunk. I tried my best to turn away from his kisses, but it didn't work out well. Are you out of your mind? I growled, pushing the guy away. What? You were ready to give it to him. How am I worse? He said and pressed his lips to mine again. I was shocked by his words. Why does he care so much? Meanwhile, he was already kissing my neck. I would be lying if I said that I didn't like all of this. Of course, I often imagined myself and him in such situations before, but I never thought that this would ever happen. Here he took me by the waist and sat me on top of him. My already short dress had ridden up and was now at my waist. I blushed. It was good that it was dark and he wouldn't see anything. He returned to my lips again. But I still did not respond to his kiss. His hands were on my bottom and were squeezing it. Because of his caresses, I began to get excited, although I did not want it. Itachi, please stop, I moaned, throwing my head back as he began kissing my neck. I could feel him getting hard through my crotch. Why? Stupid question. He's going to rape me now, and he's still asking questions. Idiot. Here he pulled my dress down from my shoulders, thereby exposing my breasts. I blushed even more than before when I noticed that he was looking at them. I sighed heavily when he touched my breasts with his hand. Meanwhile, he was kissing my neck. As indecent as it is for me to say this, I want him now. And I can't hold back any longer. I lifted the guy's face with my hands and kissed him on the lips myself. He was surprised, but he responded to the kiss anyway. I hugged him around the neck, and he pressed me to himself by the waist. I want you, he whispers in my ear. I bit my lip and kissed the guy again. You have no idea how much I want you, Itachi, flashed through my mind. He probably understood my kiss as a sign of consent and kissed me even more passionately. Here he took a small knife out of the glove compartment. Why does he need it? I was pretty scared. Then he cut my panties with this knife and threw them out the window. I'll buy you new ones later, he said, and kissed me again. I giggled through the kiss. Okay, I don't get it. Why am I practically naked, and he hasn't even unbuttoned his shirt? This needs to be addressed. With my hands slightly shaking from excitement, I began to slowly unbutton his shirt. Having finished this test, I threw it on the back seat. I looked at him. He has a great figure. It's clear why almost all the girls run after him. I started kissing the guy's neck. To this he threw his head back and quietly moaned. This turned me on even more. I ran the tip of my tongue along the guy's neck. And then I felt the guy's fingers on my crotch. I screamed with excitement. He stuck 2 fingers inside me and started to insert them in and out. I bit my lip and barely held back my moans. You're already all wet, he said quietly, removing his fingers. At first I was even upset, but then I heard the sound of a fly opening. I tensed up. Could this really happen now? He looked at me and ran his hand down my cheek. I smiled softly at him, and he smiled back. Wow, he smiled. I've never seen him smile before. Do you want this? He asked. I didn't answer, I just nodded. And then I felt his hot flesh on my crotch. He entered inside a little, and then, taking me by the waist, sat me down on him completely. I screamed with pleasure. And my nails dug into the guy's hands. He winced in pain, but then began to help me with the movements. He entered slowly and smoothly, as if teasing me. I wanted more. Then I grabbed the back of the driver's seat and moved on it myself. It was not very comfortable because of the steering wheel, but it did not bother us much. He still helped me with the movements, but now faster and deeper. I moaned like crazy with pleasure. The guy moaned too. I tried not to look at the guy's face, because I was terribly embarrassed right now. And he, on the contrary, did not take his eyes off my face. Sakura. Soon the guy moaned, starting to move even faster. I realized that he would soon come, and I myself was at the limit. And so it happened. We came at the same time. With a drawn-out groan, he came inside me. I fell powerlessly onto the guy's chest. We both breathed heavily, trying to get our breathing under control. I sat on him, still hugging his neck and resting my head on his shoulder. He also did not remove his hands from my waist. Damn you, Uchiha! I still fell in love with you, flashed through my head. Having come to my senses a little, I got off the guy, adjusting my dress. He also zipped up his fly, but did not put on his shirt. We were silent. I looked out the window, and he smoked. Now we both didn't know what to say at that moment. The perverted part. Oh my God, I'm so ashamed. Ha! Chapter 11 POV Itachi. Why did I do this? She will definitely hate me now. She didn't like me before. I broke everything myself. I'm an idiot. Not knowing what to say, I stupidly looked out the window and smoked. I felt good with her. I had never felt this way with any other girl. Itachi, let's forget what happened between us, the girl said in a quiet voice, without taking her eyes off the window. And if I don't want to, I didn't expect these words from myself. The girl stared at me in surprise, raising her right eyebrow. Why? She asked. Now I'm at a dead end. I don't know what to tell her. If I tell her the truth, she'll think I'm making fun of her. I remained silent like a fool, unable to find the right words. Let's go home, the girl whispered, interrupting my thoughts. I didn't answer and started the engine. When we got home, Sakura, without saying anything, got out of the car and walked towards the house. I stayed like an idiot sitting in the car and watching the girl leave. Now she'll hate me even more, flashed through my head. I shouldn't have done that. After sitting in the car for a little while, I finally headed into the house. Sakura's POV. I can't believe what happened between us today. Do I regret it? No. But I can't just look him in the eyes now. I need to get a boyfriend ASAP, otherwise I'm slowly starting to go crazy. I was lying on the bed in my room. My head was a complete mess. My body still felt his caresses and hot kisses. I won't leave the room anymore, I mumbled and covered my head with a pillow. Then they started calling me. Reluctantly, I stood up and started looking for my phone in my purse. Hinata called. Yes, I said as confidently as possible. Sakura, your mother. Where the hell are you? A less sober voice rang out. Okay, but this isn't Hina. What the? Sasuke, why are you yelling? We're at home, I said loudly. How are things at home? How do you think we'll get into the house now? Call your brother, he will come for you. Exactly? That I didn't guess right away. Okay. Bye. What a moron. They couldn't call Itachi right away, they had to bother me. Then there was another call. Hinata's number again. What else? I answered, not satisfied. Saku, here's the deal. Hinata doesn't have Itachi's number, and my phone is dead. Could you tell him to come get us? Nanny? I squeaked. I didn't really want to see the guy right now. Something's wrong? No. Everything is fine. I'll pass it on now. I squeaked again. Okay then. Let's wait. Damn it. How untimely. I left my room and stood in front of Itachi's door. I was terribly afraid to go in, or rather, embarrassed. But I wasn't going to let my friends down. After knocking, I opened the door slightly. Itachi? I said when I noticed that he was not in the room. But I was wrong. Probably hearing his name, the guy came out of the bathroom. He was wearing only a towel, and his black hair was fluffed up. I instantly blushed, looking at the guy. What did you want? His voice brought me to my senses. Sasuke called me. He asked me to pick them up from the club, I said after a short pause. Damn, he slapped himself on the forehead. We left so quickly that I forgot about them. After his words, I blushed. Is he reminding me on purpose? Idiot. Sakura, take them. I just wanted to take a shower, he said, and taking the car keys from the table, thrust them into my hand. Our hands touched, and I blushed again. Damn it. Okay. I'll go, I squeaked and went to the exit. But then the guy grabbed my hand and pressed me to himself. My eyes popped out of my head. What was he up to? He ran his hand over my cheek, all the while keeping his eyes on me. Itachi, I whispered, but the guy pressed his finger to my lips. And then he began to lean towards me and soon his lips touched mine. To my surprise, I immediately responded to him by hugging him around the neck. He was holding me by the waist. Itachi. This is not right. Stop it, I whispered when the guy started to shower my neck with kisses. Why do you think so? There is nothing wrong with two people being attracted to each other, he said, starting to lift my dress. And I believe I didn't even have time to change. I just put on my panties. Itachi, I moaned loudly and quickly led the guy to the bed. The next moment, He was already lying on it. And I sat on him and kissed him passionately. Soon he probably got tired of his position, and he deftly pushed me onto the bed and laid down on me. And again kisses. He deftly took off my panties and lay down between them, having first thrown off the towel. "You drive me crazy," the guy whispers, kissing me. Did he say that? I'm shocked. I threw my legs over his hips, pressing the guy even closer to me. I felt him start to enter. I bit my lip. He entered me smoothly. I moaned, but the guy decided to tease me again and didn't move. "Itachi," I moaned and kissed him passionately. It worked on him. He began to slowly but deeply enter. I moaned long, scratching the guy's back. Soon he started moving faster, and I was moaning like crazy. "I feel like it's almost over." He moved faster and faster. And soon he stopped. Something warm was spreading inside me. The guy was lying on me and breathing heavily. I was in the same state. Soon he got off me and lay down next to me. And then I remembered. "Oh shit," I said, quickly jumping out of bed. "What happened?" He was perplexed. I looked at him. He didn't even bother to cover himself. "Sasuke. We forgot about him and the guys," I said, taking my eyes off him. "Exactly." He jumped up and began to get dressed. "I'm with you." "With me? Uchiha, are you sure you're okay?" I left his room and went downstairs. Soon the guy himself came running. "Let's go," he said, taking my hand. I was shocked by his behavior and followed the guy. Having got into the car, we quickly headed towards the club. There were a lot of people and we had a question. How would we even find them in such a crowd? Having parked the car, we headed through the crowd. No one. We walked around the club for about 20 minutes, but not finding anyone, we went to the car. "Maybe they are already home?" I suggested. "Most likely," Itachi answered. But I was wrong. Our group found the car and were hanging out near it. But that's not all. The thing is that they were dead drunk. Sasuke and Hinata were drunkenly chatting about something, leaning against the car, and Naruto was kissing the asphalt. My jaw slowly dropped from this picture. But then an idea came to me. "Give me the keys," she extended her hand to the guy with a sly smile. "What are you thinking?" the guy asked, holding out the keys. "You'll see," I said and pressed the button. The machine beeped. From the great shock, Sasuke and Hinata plopped down on Naruto, who was already having sex with the asphalt. I burst out laughing. "Are you completely out of your mind?" "I almost had a heart attack," Sasuke yelled as he stood up. "You should have seen your faces," I laughed. "Where the hell have you been?" Sasuke asked. I immediately stopped laughing, but I started to blush. "It's none of your business. Let's go," Itachi saved the situation. The drive home was very funny. Sasuke and Hinata were laughing loudly, it was not clear why, and Naruto was kissing the car window. At traffic lights, people pointed at him and laughed. After some time, we arrived home. Having unstuck the drunk Naruto from the glass, Itachi and Sasuke dragged him into the house. I helped the drunk Hinata get out. Naruto tried to break free the whole way, as if he had been interrupted at the most important moment. With great difficulty, we separated the boys into their rooms and then went our separate ways. I couldn't fall asleep for a long time. Memories of today kept creeping into my head. Then Naruto's moans joined these memories. Well, what is he f-king this time? I hope it's not Itachi or Sasuke. Shut up, jerk. Let people sleep? Sasuke's angry voice came from the hallway. So, that means he's not with Sasuke. That means a pillow and a blanket. It seems to me that Naruto didn't get it up for Itachi even in this state, so I'm calm. Naruto barely reacted to Sasuke's scream, but began to moan even louder. The brunette howled and went to his room, loudly slamming the door. Half an hour later, the blonde somehow calmed down. Now you could hear loud but rare moans. I somehow managed to fall asleep. Chapter 12 And here's another stroke of bad luck. I woke up in the middle of the night, hearing the sound of an opening door. At first I thought it was a dream, but I was convinced it was real when I heard quiet steps. I got scared. Who knows who brought it, and most importantly why? Maybe it was Naruto, who got tired of just fucking inanimate objects. I lay on the bed without moving and without opening my eyes. Meanwhile, the footsteps stopped near my bed. The next moment a man sat down next to the bed and his breath began to warm my face. He was so close. Your mother, who is this? I need to open my eyes. I did so. I slowly opened my eyes, and the next moment I shuddered and rose from the bed. Itachi? What? I squeaked, looking at the night guest. Why are you so scared? Or am I that scary? The guy grinned and stood up. And wouldn't you be scared if someone came to you in the middle of the night and stared? I said. If there was a girl, then no, the guy grinned again, sitting on the edge of the bed. I just wrapped the blanket around myself tighter. Impudent pervert, I muttered. He didn't answer, continuing to look at me. What do you need? I finally asked the question that had been tormenting me. In response, he shrugged his shoulders. My displeasure grew with each passing second. Who does he think he is? A damn idiot. I couldn't sleep, so I decided. I interrupted him and said, Wake up other people too. Yes, Uchiha? I don't see any people here, the brunette said, looking around. What? Oh, you. Even my hair stood on end with anger. Forgetting that I was now in a translucent negligee, I grabbed a pillow and hit the guy with it. Feathers immediately appeared on his hair. I burst out laughing at this picture. Oh, so said the brunette, and the next moment he was pressing me to the bed. I looked at him, breathing heavily and smiling. It's not every day you see an Uchiha with feathers on his head. He didn't take his eyes off my face either. And then the menu dawned on me. Uchiha, could you get off me? I asked politely. I feel fine as is, he smiles now. Uchiha? I howled and began to try to throw the brunette off me. But all in vain. The brunette pressed me with his whole body to the bed, while grinning insolently. That's it. You won. Now get off me. I stopped resisting and looked at the guy. He shook his head in denial. Then I sighed heavily and turned my head to the side, staring at the wall. But then I felt wet lips on my neck. I shuddered and bit my lower lip. Itachi was already covering my neck with hot kisses. Yeah. Now it's clear why you came, I said, taking pride in my fist. That's not true, the guy replied, quickly leaving my neck alone. And then what does it all mean? I couldn't resist, the guy answers and finally gets up from me. I reacted immediately, and quickly pulled the blanket up. Itachi went to the window and started looking out. There was silence in the room for a while. But soon the guy broke it. Can I stay with you? The guy asked somewhat uncertainly, still looking out the window. Nanny? I squeaked, not believing my ears. I won't pester you. I promise, the guy said and turned to me. Why? I asked. He shrugged again. Okay, stay, I gave in. Thank you, he said and came up to me. POV Itachi. Why did I come? I am completely confused about myself. I wonder if I can resist such a temptation tonight. In any case, I have to, I promised. Sakura moved to one edge of the bed and turned her back. Lie down. What are you standing there for? I heard the girl's voice. Then I took off my t-shirt and lay down next to her. We were lying back to back and I really didn't like this arrangement. Then I turned around and hugged her around the waist, burying my face in her pink hair. With my body I felt how the girl tensed up, but she didn't take any action. Her hair smelled like cherries. I never noticed it, but I'm starting to like it. I wonder if she has any feelings for me left? Or maybe I should ask her directly? That's exactly what I'll do. Sakura? Can I ask a question? Go ahead. I didn't know how to start. Damn, Itachi. You're like a little boy. Sakura, do you feel anything for me now? A fit of animal laughter, the girl giggled. Sakura, let's be serious. Do you like me? I raised my voice. Yes, I like you. Are you happy? The pink-haired girl answered in the same way. I smiled at my victory and turned the girl towards me. He ran his hand over her cheek and leaned closer, touching the girl's lips with his own. Oddly enough, she answered me immediately and put her hands on my chest. And what should I understand by this? The girl asked, interrupting the kiss and raising an eyebrow. That you are mine and no one else's, I answered and touched the girl's lips again. I hope she will understand everything correctly. Breaking off the kiss, I lay down on the bed, dragging the girl behind me. Her head lay on my chest, and I hugged her around the waist. I closed my eyes and soon went to the world of Morphus. Sakura's POV. Waking up in the morning, I felt that I was not alone. Raising my head, I saw the sleeping face of a guy, on whose chest I was sleeping. I smiled, remembering last night. That you are mine, and no one else's. I played the guy's phrase in my head. If I understood everything correctly, then I am now his girlfriend. I don't believe it. I smiled and laid my head back on the guy's chest. I woke up about an hour later. I raised my head and looked at the guy. This time he was not sleeping, but was looking at me with a smile. Good morning, he said, touching my lips with a light kiss. So it wasn't a dream. With good wishes, I answered. He looked at me without looking away, smiling with the corner of his lips. What's wrong? I asked, stretching. He shook his head, but didn't stop looking. Stop looking at me, I mumbled and covered my head with the blanket. In response, I heard the guy laugh, and the next moment he started trying to get me out from under the blanket. Sakura, don't act like a little child. Get out, he said through laughter. I didn't react to his words in any way. Okay, having said this, the guy also climbed under the blanket. I screamed when I realized that my space had been invaded. Itachi, stop, I laughed when the brunette started tickling me. I stuck my head out from under the blanket and breathed heavily, since it was not very comfortable for me to do this under the blanket. Finally, Itachi said, and also climbed out. That's not fair, I muttered. It's okay, he said, and turning my head towards him, he kissed me tenderly. I immediately responded and hugged the guy around the neck. Chapter 13 A month passed. I was still working for the Uchiha. And most importantly, I was dating Itachi. Hinata was incredibly happy for me, but she was still worried about me. Naruto, having found out that Itachi and I were together, threw a fit. What can I say, he still teases him all the time. I also started to often catch the younger Uchiha's glances at me, but he immediately looked away when our glances met. I don't know what the reason for his behavior is. POV Sasuke. I was sitting in my room, looking at our family photos. My brother and I had always gotten along well, but now everything had changed. And the reason for all this was my brother's girlfriend. I admit that I was a fool, because I didn't immediately recognize this attractive girl as my old classmate Sakura Haruno. I should have guessed right away, because I had never seen pink hair before. Although her hair only reached her shoulders. And now it reaches almost to her waist. I realized that I like her. I really like her. But I can't betray my brother, so I have to watch him kiss her. Having put the photo album back, I decided to go out and make myself some coffee. I didn't want to ask Hinata. She would immediately notice my strange behavior. Putting on a plaid shirt over a white t-shirt, I went downstairs. Naruto was sitting in the living room with Hinata, who was dusting and blushing terribly. I remember she liked him for a long time. It's strange how she can like such a moron with his character and behavior. Now the blonde was watching TV and eating something from a saucepan. Stop. From a saucepan? Naruto, wouldn't it be easier to pour it into a plate and eat it? I asked, putting my hands on my waist. He looked at me like I was an idiot and continued eating. Although he looks like an idiot now. I sighed and went into the kitchen. After making coffee, I headed back. While I was in the kitchen, the doves came down. Jealousy woke up in me again. Oh, hello, little silly brother, Itachi greeted, ruffling my hair. Go away. Stupid older idiot. Having said this, I threw off his hand and went upstairs. At the end I looked at Sakura, who looked at me, not understanding anything. Sakura's POV/. I looked after the departing brunette. He was strange. Very strange indeed. Another month passed. Everything was the same as then. Only if Sasuke appeared before our eyes, even less. Now Hinata and I are sitting in the living room and watching TV. Itachi is at a bachelor party, and Sasuke is somewhere the devil is running around. Naruto should be here soon. He has been renting a separate place for a month now. And all this made us incredibly happy. Now we can sit in the house in silence, and not listen to stupid jokes and nagging towards Itachi. Today my sister and I agreed that she will definitely talk to Naruto. Of course, she denied it for a long time, but I still won. Now she was sitting on pins and needles, trembling slightly. Calm down. You're not inviting him to bed, are you? I tried to calm the brunette down. My reassurance made her blush. Here we heard the sound of the door opening. So, Naruto doesn't have the keys. So it's either Sasuke or Itachi. And when this someone snapped, I almost fainted. Sasuke stood at the threshold. His shirt was torn and bloody. His lip was also split. I stood up from the sofa as if scalded and ran up to the guy, while Hinata rushed for the first aid kit. Oh my God, Sasuke. What happened? I asked worriedly, looking at the guy. None of your business, the brunette responded rudely, throwing off my hand, and walked on. I didn't understand his way of addressing me. Come on, stand still. You need to work on him. I caught the guy by the hand when he was about to go to the kitchen. Go away, he said the same. Then I noticed that he smelled of alcohol. You're drunk, I exclaimed. I guessed, the guy grimaced and pulled his hand away. Sasuke, I exclaimed when he had already entered the kitchen. Then Hinata brought me a first aid kit, and I, full of determination to help the guy, entered the kitchen. He was sitting at the table and drinking sake. What the? I don't get it. Come on, give it back, I barked, taking the drink from the guy's hands. What the? The brunette began to boil. Itachi is coming now, you'll get into trouble. Itachi. This Itachi again. You all have had enough of me with your Itachi, the guy growled, standing up abruptly, walking past me. He accidentally touched me with his shoulder and I almost fell. Idiot, I muttered when the guy came out of the kitchen. Why is he so angry? Hinata shrugged and we followed. He was gone, probably went into the room. I decided not to disturb him for now, let him get some sleep first. He's a minor alcoholic. Half an hour passed. Naruto had already arrived, and Sasuke was still sitting in the room. Probably asleep. Hinata was sitting next to Naruto, all red. And the blonde, in turn, was eating from the pot again. Yeah, and how can you love such a blockhead? Where is Sasuke? Naruto finally asked. He's sitting in the room, I answered. By the way, I'll go check on him. And you, have fun? I winked at my sister, to which she instantly turned even redder. I went upstairs to Sasuke's room. It was quiet inside. Sasuke? I said, opening the door slightly. What do you want? The guy answered just as rudely, but his voice was more sober. What happened? I went into his room. He was lying on the bed, looking at the ceiling. And he was wearing only jeans. I already thought I told you that this doesn't concern you, he said, turning his back. I clenched my fists. This guy's behavior clearly irritated me. Sometimes he was silent all the time, sometimes he snapped. Why are you behaving like this with me? As far as I remember, I have never done anything bad to you, I said, raising my voice. And it doesn't concern you either, he answered shortly. It seemed to me that my hair stood on end from anger. And really, a stupid little idiot. I suddenly jumped up from my seat, turned the guy onto his back, and sat on top of him. I won't let you talk to me like that. You're not someone to snap at me. I used to think we were friends, but later I realized I was wrong. You're as selfish as Uchiha was at school, I practically screamed, pinning the guy's hands to the bed. The guy himself looked at me with wide-open eyes. Now quickly explain your behavior? I've already told you everything, the guy said calmly and turned away. Uchiha, I said through clenched teeth. I wonder what my brother would think if he saw us now, he said here, without turning his head in my direction. And then it dawned on me. I was still sitting on him, pressing his hands. Blushing, I quickly jumped up from him and left the room. Angry and red, I went downstairs. And then I saw this. Naruto and Hinata were sitting on the couch and kissing. The star was shocked. I definitely didn't expect this. Ahem, I cleared my throat to attract the couple's attention. My cough worked quickly. Hinata, as if scalded with boiling water, moved away from the guy and immediately blushed. And here we are, the blonde said stupidly and scratched the back of his head. I see. I I said with a sly smile. It seems I'm at the wrong time. I decided to go to my room so as not to disturb people, to build a personal life. Chapter 14 When I got up in the morning, I realized that I was not alone in bed. Turning my head, I saw Itachi sleeping. I didn't even feel him come. I quietly got up and headed to the shower. After finishing all my chores, I headed to the kitchen. Naruto and Hinata were sitting there hugging each other. So, it didn't seem like a dream. "Hello, lovebirds," I said with a smile. "Sakura?" the sister said, stuttering and blushing. "No, damn." Sergei's Zverev. I rolled my eyes and sat down at the table. "What are we going to do today?" asked the blonde, who was tenderly hugging the brunette. "I don't know. Maybe we should go to a club," I suggested. "Good idea," Naruto agreed. "I can't today," and a voice came from the second floor. Turning our heads, we saw Itachi. "Why?" Naruto asked. "Business," he answered briefly, and coming up to us, he hugged me. "I wonder if Sasuke-kun will go?" Hinata said. I immediately remembered his behavior yesterday. "I don't think so," I answered. "Well, screw it. You'll come off alone," Itachi said, and kissed me on the forehead. As we thought, Sasuke left the house closer to evening. Even before leaving, he looked at me as if I owed him a ruble. We'll have to go 3 at a time. Those 2 won't be bored, but me." We were just taking a taxi to my house, because I decided to show off my car to the world. I was wearing a light dress with a full skirt and high-heeled shoes. "Wait. I'll be quick," I said when we got out of the taxi. I ran on heels to the garage. "My baby," I said, opening the garage, "I missed you so much." I was ready to kiss her, but I refrained. "Yeah, I should probably go to the car wash. The car is white, and all covered in dust. That won't do. They'll say what kind of homeless people arrived in a Lancer." I got into the car and drove off. The guys were waiting for me near the house. I drove closer and honked. Naruto's jaw hit the asphalt with a thud. "What a car. And why did you hide it?" the blonde said, getting into the car. "Only from you," I answered as if nothing had happened. "She's called a girlfriend," the guy mumbled offendedly. "Come on, don't be offended. It's just that I know how you drive, and you know how much money I spent on it. On tuning, on wheels, and on other components," I said through laughter. "Okay then. Let me ride again," a grin from ear to ear. "No," Hinata and I barked at the same time. "I understand, but I don't know why she did it." The guy pouted, but didn't say anything else. And when we were already approaching the club, it dawned on me. Well, I'm such a loser. I forgot my passport at home. "You go to the club, and I'll come later," I said, and stopped near the club. "Okay then. Let's go," said the guys, and hugging each other, they headed to the club. And I went back. Soon I was near the Uchiha's house. I quickly went out and ran to the house. It's strange, the house isn't locked. There was no one there. I slowly walked into the house, listening to every noise. Everything was quiet on the first floor, and I headed upstairs. And there I heard a muffled female moan. "Sasuke must have brought some slut," flashed through my head. But how wrong I was. The moans were coming from Itachi's room. My heart sank. It couldn't be. I slowly headed towards the moans. Unfortunately for me, the door to my boyfriend's room was open, and I could see everything clearly. There on the table, Itachi was fucking a red-haired chick. I immediately recognized her as the bitch Karen. Tears immediately flowed from my eyes. And how could I have been so wrong? I could have guessed that this was another cruel divorce. But I won't let them hurt me again, I'll leave myself. I quietly left my ex-boyfriend's room, wiping away tears along the way. Taking my passport, I went to the club. I cried the whole way, not believing in the betrayal of my loved one. Having wiped away my tears, I got out of the car and confidently walked towards the club. I'll definitely get drunk today. At least alcohol will take away my pain for a while. Having entered the club, I headed to the bar. I should at least find Narek and Hina. Although I'll order first, and then go look for them. After ordering a bottle of sake, I went in search of my friends. I found them kissing at a table. Ahem. I started to attract attention. They immediately let go of each other and looked at me. Oh, you've already arrived. You're quick, Naruto said. I nodded and sat down next to him. I poured myself some sake and drank it. Then more and more. And soon I was drunk. The guys watched in shock as I quickly emptied the bottle. Sakura, what happened? Asked the worried brunette. Everything is great. I'll go and dance, I said, and staggered towards the dancing crowd. I stood in the center of the room and began to move to the rhythm of the music. My head was buzzing from the sake I had drunk. I closed my eyes and moved to the music. But soon a stranger pressed me against himself. He reeked of alcohol, even though I was drunk myself. I started trying to break free from the guy's arms. But due to my condition, it didn't work. Meanwhile, the guy turned me around to face him. I stared at him in shock. It was Sasori. Hi, baby. Long time no see, the guy said drunkenly, and started lifting my dress with his hand. Let go of the run, I snapped, pushing the guy away. And at that time he was already kissing my neck. Will I really be raped now, and no one will even help me? And just as I was thinking about it, I was pulled away from the redhead with force. And he got hit in the jaw. Sasori fell, and my savior was now gently hugging me. From the stress I had experienced, I also hugged the guy. I stood there, hugging the stranger for about 5 minutes. He held me tightly to himself, as if trying to protect me from everyone. And then I wanted to look at my savior. Raising my head, my eyes widened in surprise. Sasuke? SHHHH. Everything is fine, the guy answered. After his words, I snuggled up to the guy again. In his arms, I feel calmer. Thank you, I said, looking at the brunette again. He was smiling. And then I had a huge desire to kiss the guy. I did so. Hugging the guy around the neck, I touched his lips. It even seemed to me that he shuddered from my touch. But he quickly came to his senses and answered me. Chapter 15 Now we were standing in the middle of the hall and kissing passionately. Then I felt something hard on my thigh. I realized that the guy was aroused. From the realization that he wanted me, I myself began to get aroused. As hard as it is for me to say, I want him. But what of it? I am a free girl. With these thoughts, I took the guy by the hand and led him towards the toilets. Entering a free booth, I pressed the guy against the wall and kissed him passionately. The guy responded immediately, pressing me to himself. I started unbuttoning his shirt. And soon I took it off. Then the guy himself pressed me against the wall, lifting me up by my buttocks. I hugged his hips with my legs. Sasuke started kissing my neck, and with one hand unzipped my dress. Having unzipped it, he pulled the dress down from my shoulders to my waist, thus exposing my breasts. I moaned loudly when the guy touched my nipple with his tongue. Sasuke, Yes, I moaned, scratching the guy's back with my nails. I lowered my feet to the floor and started stroking his cock through his jeans with my hand. He moaned. It turned me on and I started unzipping his jeans. Sakura, the guy moaned when I touched his dignity with my hand. And he has more than his brother, flashed through my head. Then the guy started taking off my panties, and soon he took them off. I was all ablaze with excitement. I wanted him, I really wanted him. I sat him down on the toilet and sat on top of him, kissing the guy. I found his dignity with my hand and began to slowly insert it into myself. But I couldn't do it because of the excitement. And then the guy took the initiative into his own hands. Although his hands were shaking too, he managed to do what I couldn't. I screamed when the guy suddenly entered me completely. He began to move slowly, while showering my neck with kisses. I moaned quietly with each entry of the guy. I threw my head back and closed my eyes. The guy began to move faster. I could no longer restrain myself and moaned loudly. Sakura, he moaned, and then I felt something warm spreading inside me. I screamed and came to. I sat on him, breathing heavily. The guy kept hugging me around the waist, and I laid my head on his shoulder. Wow! I just slept with my boyfriend's younger brother. I slowly raised my head and looked at the guy. His eyes were closed, and there was a blush on his cheeks. So cute. He was breathing as hard as I was. And then he opened his eyes and looked at me. He probably thought that I would just get up and leave without saying anything. But instead I smiled at him. He smiled back and ran his hand down my cheek. And then he gently touched my lips with his. I immediately began to respond. "Who are you here with?" I asked, breaking away from the guy. "With Saigetsu and Sasori," he answered. At the last name, I tensed up. "What's the matter?" the brunette asked, clearly noticing my condition. "My ex," I answered with a sigh. So he was telling me about you. Like he wants to get back the girl he's been dating for a long time. And that she has pink hair." "Damn, it's not hard to guess," Sasuke said. I giggled and pulled my dress up over my chest and got off the guy. I turned my back to him, letting him get dressed. When I turned around, he had already buttoned his jeans. "Let's go," I asked. He nodded and we left. I headed towards Naruto and Hinata, and Sasuke towards his friends. "Where have you been?" Naruto asked immediately. "Me? Well, I was outside," I answered, blushing a little. "Let's say that I believed you." "And where is Sasuke?" "We saw you together." "How would I know?" I snapped, sitting down next to him. "Damn. Where did he go?" The blonde scratched his head. And then my phone rang. Looking at the display, I realized that Itachi was calling. EXO. Damn bastard. I dropped the call. I noticed that I had several missed calls from the guy. Then I decided to end it all. I started texting him. "It's over between us. Go to your Karen." After sending the text message, I poured myself some sake. And then they called me again, but just like last time, I hung up. "Naruto, please bring me a cocktail," said Hinata. The blonde immediately rushed to fulfill his girlfriend's request. "Well, what happened to you?" I heard my sister's voice. "She figured it out, the little bitch." "Everything is fine with me," I answered, not looking at the brunette. "Oh really? Go ahead, tell me." I sighed heavily. "I caught Itachi and Karen doing that very thing," I answered, barely holding back my tears. "Nanny? Is this a joke?" she said in shock. "No. It's the honest truth," I said quietly. "And I cheated on him. Just now." "What?" Her eyes widened in shock. "With whom?" "You won't believe it." With Sasuke. After my words, the glass fell from her hands, and sake spilled all over the table. "This can't be." Maybe, I said, and drank my drink. "Look who I found," said Naruto, who had just arrived. I raised my head and saw Sasuke near our table. I blushed and immediately looked away. "Oh, someone is calling me," said the brunette, taking out her phone. But when she saw who was calling, her eyes widened. "Itachi," she answered. "What?" "Don't answer," I said, looking at the girl with sad eyes. Sasuke watched us in surprise. "I can't, Saku. I have to answer," the brunette said guiltily. I howled and put my head on the table. "Yes, Itachi-san," Hina answered. "Hinata, where is Sakura?" Itachi's loud voice was heard. The girl looked at me. "Tell her that I went home," I whispered to her. "She went home," she said. "You're lying." "I'll be there soon," said the guy and hung up. "Damn," I howled. "I'm leaving." I quickly grabbed my purse and walked quickly towards the exit. "Sakura, wait," the guy's voice reached me. POV Itachi. "I don't understand anything. What could have happened that she decided to leave me?" "Stop," she wrote, "go to your Karen." "No, not that. Red-haired creature, I hate her." I got ready in a hurry. Having somehow put on a shirt, I ran out of the house. And why did I agree to her condition? I should have sent her to hell. Memories. The dark-haired guy was sitting in his office, writing a report on the work done. His face was emotionless. But then he was distracted from his work by a knock on the door. "Itachi. Can I come in?" the red-haired girl said in a sweet voice. "What do you want, Karen Dash?" said the brunette and continued working. "Why so rude?" The girl came up to the guy and sat on his knees. "Karen, this is too much," said the guy and stood up. "Why are you so dear?" The redhead hung on the guy's neck again. Are you going to leave me alone or not? Itachi already shouted. No. I want you, the girl said passionately and tried to kiss the brunette. Karen, you haven't mixed anything up. I have Sakura and I'm not going to cheat on her, the guy said seriously. Well, we'll see about that. I have a condition. Either we sleep together, or your pink-haired one will be in trouble. You know me, Karen began to threaten. You wouldn't dare, the guy muttered through his teeth, clenching his fists. I don't, but my friends do. So what do you choose? Karen said finally and left. End of memories. After that conversation, I took a long time to decide. But realizing that the health of my beloved girl was more important, I agreed. I should have punched her in the jaw myself. I at least stick to the rule of not hitting girls, but she went too far. I quickly got into the car and drove towards the club where the guys were. It's good that Naruto let it slip and now I know where they are. I drove quickly along the road, overtaking oncoming cars. Soon the very building appeared. Having parked the car, I ran to the club. Having quickly walked through the club, I did not find anyone. Did they really leave? I quickly ran to the parking lot, hoping that they hadn't managed to leave. My hopes were justified. There Sakura was dragging Naruto and Hinata by the hands into the car. And next to her was Sasuke, puzzled by something. Sakura, I shouted and ran towards them. Itachi? What are you doing here? I thought I told you everything already? Having said this, she left the guys and went to the car. Explain what's wrong. I grabbed her hand and pulled her towards me. As if you don't know. She hissed and tried to free her hand. No. I answered as if I didn't understand anything. Let me go, Uchiha. And go further with Karen, fuck, she hissed. As I thought. She knows everything. But how did she know? Did she really see us? I'll explain everything, I said. You don't need to explain anything to me. I saw everything. And my eyes don't lie to me. So goodbye. She still pulled her hand away, but I caught it again at that moment. Get away from me. Will you leave me alone or not? She howled. Sakura, I said quietly. Go to hell, she said this with tears in her eyes. Here I loosened my grip for a moment, and she took advantage of the opportunity to pull her hand away. I hate you! She screamed through tears and ran away from us. Sakura, I shouted to her, but she didn't stop. Sakura's POV. I started crying anyway. I'm a wimp. I promised not to cry in front of the guys. I ran I don't know where. I couldn't see well because of my tears. Why? I said and stopped. Tears were still running down my cheeks. And then I heard a car horn. Turning my head, I realized that I was standing in the middle of the road. A blow, and then darkness. Chapter 16 Sasuke's POV. So he cheated on her? I didn't think my brother was like that. Itachi was holding the girl's wrist now and trying to explain something. Go to hell, she said this with tears in her eyes. Here he probably loosened his grip for a moment, and she took advantage of the opportunity to pull her hand away. I hate you! She screamed and ran away from him. Sakura, he shouted after her. Without wasting time, we all ran after the girl. And then I see she stopped. And she stopped in the middle of the road. Sakura, I scream with all my might, but she doesn't hear me. I see a car rushing down the road straight at the girl.